Okay, so we're going to talk about puppets today, and please bear in mind I'm a third-year teacher starting, so I'm not the big authority on how to do lessons and that sort of thing. You guys have far greater level of expertise than me on that sort of thing. But I did work as puppeteer for 8 years at Excalibur Hotel. So I learned some things about puppets and an approach, sort of a way of looking at what a puppet is and how to use it in the classroom. So I'm beginning to bring this into my classroom, and I thought it worth sharing at this point. So here we go. Category number 1 is puppets led by the teacher. That is, the teacher has a puppet and the teacher leads an activity or a song or something like that. So with this in mind, be my echo, please. Now, pant like a dog, please. Keep it going. Put your left hand on your stomach. You feel your stomach bouncing? That is your diaphragm working. And so, that's the muscle that we use when we sing. It helps us breathe, helps everything work nicely. Now let's try a little more. So, as a male teacher, I found that I was having trouble getting my children to sing openly for me. And with a puppet, it is automatic. They don't not bothered by falsetto one bit. And we get in and we do a warm-up exercise. I start at the beginning of the year. The dog is my best friend because the howls are so good for getting this vocal range going and just getting him warmed up, getting him into having fun. We're doing rhythm, echoes, and all of that, getting everybody kind of turned on from a time point of view. And so the dog was one of my great friends at the beginning of the year. Now, after a while, the children get a little bored with the same dog again. Okay, so what are we going to do? And I didn't bring all the puppets I have in my classroom by any means. I just sort of brought a representative sample. But I got in for a while and I thought, well, you know what? My choir kids aren't doing their vowel sounds right. So, guess what the cow's going to do? Moo. 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 Moo, 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 moo. Moo, moo, moo. 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 And now all of a sudden you're doing oohs. I use the Folkmanis llama to do ah. Ah, ah. And you can have fun and be silly, but you're still addressing this concept of what is the right vowel sound. And I guess the witch did E, and I can't remember who did A. I think it was my cool guy over here. He was A. Right? And so we did that. I want to talk about puppets for a little bit and tell you what kind of puppets I really like. I love the Folkmanis dog. Why? What is it that I'm looking for when I find a puppet? There are a couple things. First of all, if I see the little guy and they just charm me. There's the Folkmanis has a little hedgehog kind of armadillo thing, and the thing about the Folkmanis puppets is they look great, but there's a problem. Sometimes they're not good for that much expression. With the dog, you don't get any arms or legs or any of that, but as a teacher puppeteer, you don't really need arms or legs or much of that. All you really need is the mouth. And so the mouth is here, and it can do everything you need to do expression-wise. Now, expression is the huge thing about operating with these guys. Everybody now get a puppet. And I want you to look at your puppet and decide for yourself where the puppet's eyes are. Generally, the eyes of a puppet, any puppet that you'll find, will be right down the line of your middle finger. So the most important thing when you're speaking with a puppet or operating a puppet at any kind is to have the eyes show the intention of the puppet. That's why, if you see, there was a show on public TV for a while. I think the lady was teaching French, and she had a puppeteer who didn't really know what to do. And that puppet was flapping, the whole hands were going up, and the eyes were like this when the puppet spoke. And it completely torpedoed the believability and the charm of the puppet. So, if you keep this going and drop your thumb when the puppet talks, then the eyes maintain that line. And if you go around your classroom and you look at each kid, just point your middle finger right at the kid, and we have eye contact, and that is where the magic is. That's why it works. You look at each one, and nobody's allowed to fool around. If you're good, I'll let you pet. Right? Kids love puppets. They love them, and they will do almost anything for the opportunity to operate them themselves. Now, teacher can do a vast range of concepts using a puppet to outline the concept. There's a book here written, I think, in the early 80s that I got called Music Education Through Puppetry. And what this lady did was she built a treble staff, kind of like my stage PVC thing, 2 poles that were a measure, and then she strung line between them, and she made notes that were puppet heads. Now, I had so much gear to carry here. I wanted to carry some of my puppet blanks. I made 5 foam heads. That is just the foam, just the mouth. And I forgot them in packing everything else. I have 3 crates full. But I'm happy to even send you one if you want one. And the instructions to make these things, it takes a little time, but this is my holy grail, at least for this year. The phone book video 3-piece foam head method, at least for making, if you're going to do something like that. What this lady did, she made a treble staff, and the notes can talk, and you can make the kids identify at that point. Am I E, am I G, am I, what the note is. And just because a puppet, she says her kids are completely turned on, and I believe her. Now, the thing is, if you decide you're going to build something like this, it's a pretty big project. It's going to take hours and hours. I personally kind of figured I wasn't going that direction right now. I want to get kids doing puppets, and I'll tell you why. There's a transference, there's a higher level thinking that must happen if kids are running a puppet. And it's not just one puppet. With the little guys with 1st and 2nd grade, you can have them just running a puppet and talking and making up the voice and deciding what the puppet is going to do. And that's fine and very healthy and good for them. But when you get, when I worked at Excalibur, the style of puppetry we did is called bunraku. It's a Japanese style of puppetry. The puppeteers are in full view of the audience the whole time, except in our show, we wore black velvet, and we painted the puppets with black light reflective colors, and so you couldn't really see us. But the concept of actually operating the puppet when you're standing right there, has anybody seen Avenue Q? So sad that the show left. What a brilliant show. The puppeteers were right there, and nobody cared. It was fine. Because why? Because the puppet's intention through the eyes was always right there, and they were believable. Everybody wants to believe that the puppet is real. You want to know that. So my goal with kids, I want to demonstrate this. Can I get a couple people? I need 3. You come up, and what I want here is for you to be the witch's head, please. And now it's going to get a little crowded. Actually the head is going to reach behind. And now you're going to be the witch's arms. And we're gonna come over here to the stage, shuffle over the both of you, and oh my goodness. I know, it's very difficult to resist, but come this way. Now, I have the stage here. There's a little playboard. This is a very thin piece of, I don't know what that is, but I hinged it so I can carry it. Now, if the witch stands here, put her feet on the floor. There we go. Now, she's a little low. The head is in control of the height of the puppet. Now, as the foot person, you're going to have to be down here a little to the side. But now, we have the witch walking to the left. The witch walks to the right. The witch can take a little jump, and it works out best if people take turns.
Don't step on my fingers.
I know it's not comfortable for those of us. I get parent knees all the time. At least I call it that because you're down on the floor and you can get up. Oh my God! But there are ways to solve it, and you've done it. And to sit is much more comfortable. Now, the foot person's range is from their arms. The arm person, if the puppet's moving left and right, you have to actually move your whole self, right? And the head person has to reach around. It's not the most comfortable thing. Puppetry is not ergonomic, but it is very much worth it. Look how much fun these people are having. So my vision for this within the orc context is these guys are one group of instruments. You have a group of kids on congas, a group of kids on bass instruments, a glockenspiel group, and maybe, if there's movement, you can have a puppet. Other people will do the other movements. So the song we're going to do now is Grandma Moses. It comes from the, whatever that series is, Down in the Valley is the name of the book. And let's get it going. I'll do it once. You guys are going to pick it up immediately. You have the words. Grandma Moses, sick in bed, went to the doctor and the doctor said, "Come on, Grandma, you ain't sick. All you need is a peppermint stick. Hands up, do it please. Shake, hands down, shake, 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 shake. Turn around, shake, shake. Can't do that, turn around with the puppet. Get out of town as a hitchhike, right? Okay, good. Let's do it together. Everyone, here we go. Grandma Moses, sick in bed, went to the doctor and the doctor said, "Come on, Grandma, you ain't sick. All you need is a peppermint stick. Hands up, shake, 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 shake. Hands down, shake, 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 shake. Turn around, she can't do it, she does do something else. Get out of town, shake, 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 shake." Now there's so much room for invention here. Why don't we get another 3 people up to the same thing? You guys can get up the witch and we get another 3 people to do the same thing with the wizard. You see how it works.
No.
Of course, with kids, you have to process it much more thoroughly. And I'm still learning how to do this. My experience has been just like when you give a kid an instrument, suddenly their ability to listen goes away. And you have to reestablish that. Up at once, and people want to get their fingers into it. And if it's only 2 out of 3, that's cool too. As long as we get some action going, that's nice. Oh, let's see. Now I got I did an extension to this because when I saw this, when I read this in the book, I thought, oh my God, it's a blues tune. And so I had to go for it and make a blues tune out of it. So the extension, you can read in the notes. I forget what words I wrote, but I came up with some rhymes. Let's have these guys practice and get used to themselves, and we'll all do the words.
I think we're used to ourselves.
Moonwalk.
Yeah. He moonwalked.
You may wonder, ordinarily I would have a curtain below covering up the bodies. But the idea here is that you should be able to look in the TV, and I might have to have you shift a little bit your chair because the camera will show them what their puppet looks like. That's because we want a kid or an adult puppeteer will very often not hold the puppet the way they need to hold them, watch the eyes, and make everything happen correctly. So if they can see what they're doing, it's a lot easier. Now, where am I? Grandma sitting in bed. Let's just go through the stop time part. Which is, of course, my grandmother is none of these things or all of these things. But I just made up some rhymes for fun. Let's read them together. Starting with Grandma, you're old. 1, 2, ready, go. Grandma, you're old. Your teeth are made of gold. You thought you had pneumonia, but you only had a cold. Grandma, you're thin. Your teeth are made of tin. Nobody's exactly sure just where you've been. Hands up, shake, 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 shake. Hands down, shake, 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 shake. Turn around, shake, 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 shake. Get out of town, shake, 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 shake. Maybe turn around should be a jump. Now, a jump is a particularly difficult move for a 3-person puppet. The head is in control. Now, head, what you have to do. The head gives a little prep. Head people, you might find it useful. I always have to grab the head with one hand and grab a little pinch of the butt with the other hand. So
There you go.
that way you can do a lean and you can see what's going on in different places, right? And a jump is the head prepping, and then the feet go up, and the feet have a choice of whether they want to spread or come down or what they want to do. All right. That in mind, I think I can get a tune to play.
Backwards. Here we go.
We made this play. I don't know what happened. The puppet stage, that's usually
No fighting, no fighting. That's rule number 1.
All right, get the volume up a little bit. Where is it?
Yeah, your fits are here.
Okay. Grandma Moses, sick in bed, went to the doctor and the doctor said, "Come on, Grandma, you ain't sick. All you need is a peppermint stick. Hands up, shake, 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 shake. Hands down, shake, 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 shake. Turn around, shake, 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 shake. Get out of town, shake, 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 shake. Grandma, oh, you thought you had a cold. Thought you had a cold. Grandma, you're thin. Your teeth are made of tin. Nobody's exactly sure where you've been. Hands up, shake, 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 shake. Hands down, shake, 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 shake. Turn around, shake, 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 shake. Get out of town, shake, 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 shake. Grandma, you're fat. You got 1,000 cats. Nobody can see you underneath that hat. Grandma can move. She's got something to prove. She'll keep up with the children and she'll show them that groove. Hands up, shake, 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 shake. Hands down, shake, 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 shake. Turn around, shake, 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 shake. Get out of town, shake, 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 shake. Grandma. All right. Standard folk man as puppets, I was heartbroken to call the company and say, "Why did you discontinue this witch?" And they were cold-hearted and corporate profiteers about it, and they say, "We run puppets in lots of 5,000. And we can't, you know, if we don't have 5,000 orders, you're out of luck." So I guess we're out of luck for the witch. And it means we got to get our sewing machines out, I guess. Because the witch has, how many people already have a witch, and do you do the Bald Mountain activity? It's a great activity. You play that record, kids echo you, or mirror you. You have your hands in the witch's hands, and she just looks natural, and it's a beautiful thing. I didn't figure it was worth taking the time to demonstrate because everybody's mostly familiar with it.
You would be surprised.
Well, happy to share it with somebody who needs it, but it's the witch is great for that. I guess the wizard could do it, but the witch just has that Halloween groove. And the thing that makes a puppet so great to me is the character. Any comedy that I love, and I'm a big comedy fan in general, it's always character driven. And so that's what I'm choosing when I look for a puppet. I look for a puppet that really has a character or a charm. You bring character to the puppets, but sometimes you look at them and you think, oh man, like you see the fireman puppet in some of these places online, and there's no groove in there for me. So I have to go to the trouble to make these other guys. Now I'll tell you a little bit about them, I guess. This is Harry Belafonte. We did the Harry Belafonte song Matilda with the instruments and yeah, it's in the notes. And I just had kids. One of them, or actually two of them, were Harry Belafonte. One doing arms, one doing head, and two of them were Matilda. I'm ferociously proud of my Matilda puppet. Now, there was a lady in North Carolina who was making what she called puppet blanks, and she stopped doing it. But when I got this puppet, it didn't have any facial features at all. I think it did have the button nose, but there were no eyes, no lips, nothing else. And so it's a blank slate. This puppet was Santa Claus. And then after Christmas, Santa Claus had a change of lifestyle. I cannot sew well enough to make this kind of cool stuff happen with the lips and all that. That's Sue Ron Karasek who did that. She also did the costumes for the Orff Festival last March, and she's great at it. So if you have a gig for her, she would love it. So anyway, Harry and Matilda were the two main lead characters for the Matilda song. And we also had to we came up with a hobby horse and made a cart and horse, because there's a verse in the song about a cart and horse. But the thing is, even though it seems like the simplest thing in the world to say, all right, here's a song that has two characters, when you start to stage it, there's always a lot more than you think. And the thing is, a puppet just sitting here delivering lyrics by itself, not the most interesting thing. There has to be motion. Puppets are a movement activity. So we got to make sure we have that still going. Your puppets don't have to be human. They don't have to be animals. I decided to construct this one just because I wanted to get abstract a little bit. And it's the same theory. One person runs the head. Now, part of what I was going for with this was I wanted to get a little distance, to make it a little bit more ergonomic. So the head has 3 feet worth of rod, so the head person can stand way back. Can I get a little help? Going for a little quick ride? You get the feet, you don't even have to bend over, because the things are long enough. Now, if we wanted, let's go feet to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's do a little, and butt, and butt, and butt. Okay, there we go. And it's completely, from a character point of view, it's very outlandish as far as its design. But you can do things that are completely inhuman, and they'll work great. Let's see. I think I have, what's going on here? Completely out of control. Look at me. I would love to do The Elephant's Child, but you need an elephant. And you need a bunch of animals. What a great story. All those Kipling Just So stories, marvelous, but it takes superior puppet design and building. And the puppet websites won't necessarily take you there. I go in, and there's also a limit. As a third-year teacher, I don't have a huge budget for this. I could get probably some support from my school to buy some puppets, but then they'd be the school's puppets, and I couldn't take them with me when I go, and that would break my heart. If I get a bunch of puppets, I want to share them with my children, and when I go, I don't want to have to rebuild all that stuff. I want to make stuff that's fairly permanent. Let me talk about the stage for a little bit. Stage. I have a book, of course, and I couldn't find the book, so it's not in your notes. And I was a little distracted, so I didn't include the book in my stuff as I meant to. But the stage is made of PVC pipe. It's simple and effective. It's like I guess it's 10 inches square. The 1 by 10 on the bottom. The big screws on there. The fitting, and it's all just PVC parts. Little playboard, thin and hinged, because you might have to take these to festival or wherever, and so it needs to be able to travel. So my entire stage fits into this golf bag it all just breaks down and it'll shove in there. It's a little crowded, but it works. Now, there's the front part of the stage. This is 2 feet high, and so we can do the 3-person puppets, head, body, feet. Foot person down here, head, butt, and the arms, and that'll work fine. I can also have another level. These guys are making a puppet stand right now, but this level will work for body puppets. This is where Harry Belafonte puppets play. It's right about here. A good height for kids, 5th graders, 4th graders, sometimes 3rd graders, but 3rd graders are a little wiggly. The 3rd graders, I would prefer to use the smaller puppets for their stuff. I don't mind if, as a special kingly reward, if they've been beautiful all year, to allow them to play with the bigger puppets a little bit. But you really have to be careful. The first thing a kid will do, some kids, especially boys, but girls too, you give them a puppet and they'll bite. And they'll fight with another puppet. And so I have really tried to make that not the aesthetic. It's not what I want children to do in general. It's certainly not what I want anybody to do in my classroom. And so I want to take puppets and use them to teach more how we should be nice. Puppets are used in therapy all the time. So kids with anger issues and these other, emotionally disturbed kids love the idea of having a puppet, and they should have puppets. These kids should have puppets, and they should have an aspect of making the puppet themselves if they can. Now I haven't gotten my art specialist quite onto my gravy train here yet, but I'm working on it. Again, I'm still fairly new, but I want to get it all rolling in this way, because if I can get some of these guys to be able to express their difficulties by making somebody that is kind of like them, but not them, then they can really say stuff that they would ordinarily not say. We discovered, as I was doing walk around, I guess I used this guy, at Excalibur there was a puppet tent, which is like a one-person backpack sort of thing. So you walk around and you have a puppet, and you can say stuff that nobody would normally be able to say to somebody. And it's just a puppet. One of my friends was running his puppet, and he was flirting with a girl, puppet, and the boyfriend got in his face and said, "Now listen, you." He's like, "Yes, victory! I can't believe my puppet so well." So I brought these guys with me, not so much because I have activities that feature them to bring into the classroom, but just to show you that with some energy from yourself, you can take a fairly ordinary puppet, or a puppet that you bought online or from someplace else, and tweak them. It's okay. You can cut the felt and sew it back together in a different way, and it totally transforms the character and makes it yours. And that's what's essential here. If you're going to run a character as a teacher, a lot of the time, I'm fine with the witch, I'm fine with the dog. And so I don't need to alter them. But if you have a person that you don't quite like, try making their chin a little tighter or something. And suddenly I think you'll find that you spend enough time, for one thing, with the object, that you sort of get some ownership just from a kinesthetic point of view. But then there's a little soul that goes in, and that's what we need. All right, so puppets. I'm sorry.
Where do you store your puppets? Out in the open, or?
I like to have them be out in the open. I like to have them. I took dowels and put them on a piece of wood, crooked, and mounted them on the wall around the music room, so that my puppets hang there, ready to go.
Like gargoyles?
Kind of like gargoyles, they're watching the children. But I don't like the idea of putting them in bags. When I move them in these plastic tubs. But I think if they're in bags in the closet, they're going to tend to want to stay there. And so I want to have them up on the walls, because using them in this way as sort of an extension to the ORF process, you can conceivably put puppets into almost anything you're doing anyway. And it's an especially good way, don't want to phrase it like this, but I will anyway. If you want to get rid of a kid who's being kind of a pain in the butt, you can conceivably give them a job that is not with the other kids. All right, Skippy, I'll give you a chance as a puppeteer. But if you blow it, then you have to sit in the corner or whatever. And they can come around for you that way, and you can gain control of this kid who's otherwise in everybody else's face. If they then take the puppet and do anything that is even anywhere near out of what is cool, then of course you gotta bust them right away. But for kids who are ADD or these other troubled individuals, they really need to move all the time. They can't help it. So if you give them something that they can help focus with, it can be a help. Yes?
Do you find you get complaints from good kids that, how come he got to do that when I've been good the whole time?
I need to have the good kids engaged too, and sometimes you pair a good kid with an evil kid, and it all works out. Right? So, you need to reward the good ones, but we need to I don't know, like 65% of our energy is spent with these kids who are wall bouncers, right?
Yeah.
And there's no way really around it, but if you can contain them, or especially give them something to focus on, something to reward them with, it's a nice little tool to have. If the activity goes perfectly, I'll let some of you do puppets. And so it doesn't really matter what you're doing. An awful lot of ORF stuff has instruments plus a movement, because you're trying to involve your whole classroom anyway. So it's just an extra thing to do. Let's do the gallopede. Do puppet motion. Kindergarten, I have these little tiny guys who are very fun, and they can make up voices for these guys and we can get them singing. So we do that with kindergarten, but I don't give them a lot of real action time. They can't follow instructions that deeply anyway. So we're gonna just give them stuff that they're gonna be successful with in advance, like gallopede, although it's simple, I think it's a little overhead. So anyway, I need 8 people. Just to demonstrate how it goes. And we'll do 2 lines of 4.
One line where?
Let's dance this way. It's a long ways dance. So here's your deal. And now what I'll do is I'm going to give a fabulous puppet to some of you. And I know the rest of you are going to want the puppet to pick some of my favorites. An elephant and a hog. And let's see. Give you the doggy. And I have a little horse for you. Now, our lesson is politeness. And dancing teaches us this way to be civil and nice to each other. I have given puppets to some of my children, but some of my children are, of course, without. And do you want the puppets? Of course you do. Are you guys going to be nice and share puppets? Of course you do. Now, here's how it goes. In counts of 8, you're going to come in. 1, 2, 3, and pet, and out to your place. Try it. In, 2, 3, give a pet, out, 2, and you must pet the puppet politely. You must be very, very nice. Otherwise, you know what happens? The teacher takes the puppet away and you have to sit down.
Oh.
Like that. So we're going to come in and pet and out to your place. And the next thing you're going to come in and you're going to give her your puppet and you're going to come over to her place. You'll switch places for the second floor. So you get a chance to play a little more. Here's the first one. Ready? And here we go. In, 2, 3, 4, and pedal, and back to your place. And in, 2, 3, 4, and take them, go to the other person's place. Again, reverse. In, 2, 3, 4, and pedal, and back to your place. In, and now take them back to your home again. Very nice. Now the last thing we're going to do is a sachet. That means that, I don't know your name, Adam is going to grab the piggy's ears. And Jenny is going to grab the little piggy butt. And they're going to sachet using the piggy. Come on, sachet is side steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
And Adam takes the puppy and they go back to their place. Let's do it. Use it. Everybody gets a sachet, but when they sachet down, you guys have to take a side step.
An elephant butt. Horses.
And in, 2, 3, 4, and pet them, and back to your spot. And go in, and kick the puppet, and go to the other person's spot. Again. Very nice. These guys behind it. There you go. And take them home and give them a little more. And sachet. And side step. Everybody ready? And go again. Here it is. In, 2, back to spot and in and take a pen. Thank you very much. Sesame! There we go. And the more kids, it takes a little longer for the sachet. Here we go. In. And take it back to spot. Good job. Oh, I can't let you not say shit. I can't. But it zero back to zero. Okay. No, I killed it. I'm sorry. Sassy. There we go. And now we're back to the beginning. Thank you so much. And this is transitional method, right? So that when they're in first grade and they're having so much trouble with everything anyway, we have this tool that we can use. And I want them to graduate out of that. So by third grade, they're just going to be holding hands, if I have my way. Let's see. I was going to go through Matilda. I have another song that I didn't include because I didn't think I'd have time. But maybe I could do it. I don't know. I thought I would have time.
I don't know. Maybe we will.
Let's see, are there questions? I didn't record it. I recorded the Boogie Woogie song last night in the classroom using my desk. But I decided, no. Don't get too deep. And now here it is. I've run into stuff. I'm so sorry. We could do Matilda with instruments, and we can sing Matilda. We can for darn sure sing Matilda. And think of things to do with puppets. This is Harry Belafonte. I would like to get puppets into your hands. And some of you have not played with them yet, so if you would like to take Harry. And some of these guys are
Chewbacca.
because part of what you need to do as a teacher puppeteer or as a person running student volunteer puppeteer is you need to figure out how this eye thing works by looking.
So did you make that one?
This one, yes, I made him over the course of the last week or so. His name is Guillermo, because that was the guy fixing my air conditioner that week.
So this is just a ball, a spud,
This is half inch. Oh, that's so much nicer than a puppet biting.
Like Team America here.
This is half-inch foam that's been cut in a half circle, darted, glued together, and actually start with the mouth to foam core, half circles for the jaw, and then glue tubes onto that and reinforce it with cloth, glue cloth to make this part really strong. Because the mouth on a puppet is going to run 1 billion times. I like the mouths on these two guys, Guillermo and Harry Belafonte, and the mouths on the mouths for this guy, Sammy, and actually this puppet had a dual birthing. I wanted the puppet to exist, and we're trying. I think it is the duty of professionals that have the ability to do satire. I think it is a very necessary social thing for us. I've noticed that newscasters over the course of the last 4 or 5 years or so have gotten so drippingly, gorgeously, wonderfully hot that I don't even listen to what the news is anymore. And I think that they need to be lampooned for this. So that was part of the purpose of having this puppet change his gender.
Drippingly gorgeous. I've never heard that.
When we did her as Matilda, we modestly pinned her blouse a little more closed.
That just exudes a whole nother division. Dripping.
This mouth is a little more difficult to access, but the guy himself, I don't know. See, as I make puppets, I gain more experience. And the purpose of some things is to show you what might be a little awkward to handle. So his character is great, but to actually get up into the head and really run him, he's not the easiest guy in the world.
I forget.
But play with his head, play with his eyes, and make him move. There are 4.
Brian, did you, is that puppet, is that Brian puppet here?
You know, Rembrandt made all those self-portraits. It's one of those kind of situations, right?
Nice.
So, I feel like they're essentially with basic, especially with kid acting, which is what a puppet is.
Ow.
You have 4 flavors, like we
Nice.
can taste sweet, salt, hot, and bitter. And so with acting, we have happy. Show me happy puppet. Mouth is up a little bit. Everybody else, get your puppet. Come on. And you're looking up just a little bit, and you may be bouncing a little bit with excitement, but not too much, right? You don't want to make the eyes unbelievable. You have to keep them kind of where they are, right? So there's happy and there's sad. In fact,
Let me see your puppet.
Don't have puppets, you can just do this with your bodies. It's a very healthy thing. If you're learning to do a puppet,
monkey.
do it with your body, do it yourself. And it would also be nice if after you spend a few minutes with these guys, you can let them move down. That might be cool. If you're really bonding with them, go for it. I can't interrupt that. But so there's happy and there's sad. Now, the great thing about doing puppets when we're using the stage and they're doing the feet, you guys were playing and having a great time, but you weren't really thinking about happy and sad feet or happy and sad hands. But this is something I really want children to have to process. Happy feet are going to be further apart, more confident. Sad feet, when you're sad, when you feel insecure, everything comes closer together. Your hands come closer to your body. You scrunch just a little bit. You don't lose the whole line of your body, but you're going to come inside a little bit, and you're going to have your head and eyes down. You're going to maybe peek up like this. So happy, sad, angry, scared are my other 2 acting primary colors, right? Emotional primary colors. So angry is something most kids want their puppets to do. Now, when I have angry puppets, I don't let them vocalize more than just a little bit. You have to just show me the anger, but you can do that. Give me the look, come on. Yeah, come on. I don't think you mean it.
Bring it.
Very good for your children to analyze this and break it down and see what it is. What do your legs do? Almost always an angry person or puppet will tilt a little bit towards the target.
Aggressive.
It's aggressive. It's nice. Now, to play with the primary colors in such a way, it is very, very good, again, to be able to use the camera and see what your puppet is doing. I will sometimes I will have my puppets go, I'll play angry music, and they will have to do a circle and a walkthrough on the stage, watch their puppet on the camera, and either be angry or be sad or be what the character of the music is. It's a fun thing. I didn't actually bring that, but it would take another tub of puppets to give everybody a puppet and have them walk through that way. This is also a situation where they have to hand the puppet off to each other. Happy, sad, angry we've done. The other one is scared to me, which is it's not as tight, not as down as sad, because you're going to have to run, right? So you have to be careful that way. Very good for children to play with that. And if they have these little puppets, these ones don't fit in my hand very well, but they sure fit a kid's hand. And they're,
Where'd you get those small ones?
I think there's a label in them. I don't think
Oriental
there's,
Trading has a whole collection.
you can buy,
Horse butt.
I think we have 2 class sets of them.
I bought some at the dollar store.
Okay.
And
You
they
can
have a
find them
whole
there, that's
bunch
good.
of them. Whole bunch of them.
Like this?
For a dollar?
For a dollar.
What?
Very
A dollar?
useful, especially for little kids, or for this sort of,
Check them out.
for these active things, for finding your voice. It's a great thing.
We're gonna love this video.
Beautiful.
Hey Connie, I didn't get that. Nice. Oh, I think it's flirting with me.
I had everybody do stuff with the wizard as an ensemble.
Do you use them in other times? Do you want to try this one?
I do.
Because the wizard is not just a straight Halloween guy. He is a magic
It's like the
guy.
Duke.
So there's a mystery to him. But
Has Brian let you touch his puppets before?
No. He's for sure.
This wizard,
He keeps his puppets to himself.
his mouth is covered by the beard a little bit.
It's kind of cool. He's got little finger holes in there so you can.
His emotions don't
Really?
Yeah, it's like a
quite as
glove in
clean.
there. It's kind of neat.
So that's why I have more of a tendency to say, gosh, I better build another one. Does he make it friends with you?
Oh, this one's very fun. I thought
Looks like he should play the piano.
he's in the.
Okay.
Hey, put him up there.
I love it.
This is cool.
My original plan was to have the puppet blanks, to have him play with that, and with the idea that if you change one small thing on your puppet, you can really affect a huge personality change. Harry Belafonte and Guillermo, wherever he is, these guys are made from the same puppet head made these guys. Now with Guillermo, I trimmed his chin a little bit. I cut it and shortened it. And so that's the main physical difference. I gave him sort of a funny plug nose, and he's got like a great big honker. And so
No,
these
you,
things,
not me.
I think it's great to make the puppets yourself. I want to get to a place, I can't justify it within the music curriculum, to get the children to make the puppets. But make and take is a great thing. I am going to work with a second grade teacher this year who does a in-section part of the second grade curriculum. And so she has a bug play that she does. And we're going to do bugs. And that bug play has songs in it, so it justifies my participation.
What about you incorporating with the art? Get with the art teacher. They can do that as part of art.
It is a great thing. My art teacher she has 8 months of experience now. So I'm just kind of taking
Yeah,
it
you
easy.
just tell her what to do
And,
now.
you know,
You
I'm
can just
still
tell her
learning
what to do
Minecraft
then.
too.
Right.
So
Right?
See a problem?
it will happen,
They
but
always
it's
make
still
puppets.
on the burn, right?
Every art teacher I've ever known.
Socks are great. The Fandango puppets are great puppets.
I had
And-
a whole classroom and all the children did their face. So I had children that were Oriental, and when they brought theirs in, they had worked all weekend with their parents and they looked like Oriental sock people. And then I had 3 children that were from South Africa, and they came in and they had dreadlocks. Their parents had actually helped them weave. And we had an international show and we did international songs and it was all from socks.
Right. And see, it doesn't really matter what you make the puppet of. I made some puppets from bottles, from Gatorade bottles, using that as the head. And it was fine, but the plastic kind of was a little uncomfortable in the hand. So I didn't bring those today. The Fandango puppets are great. Why? Because they commit to character. Character drives everything cool. So give the puppet a real groove, a real direction. And then you've,
No.
and then you can let the rest of it sort of write itself. It's a ticket to script writing for kids. I told kids we would do a puppet show across the street. There's a park across the street from my house, and we didn't end up having time to produce any of these. But I opened up the floor. I said, if you get a group of 3 or 4 of you together and write a script, we'll stand a chance of producing it. And I had 4 scripts the next day.
Oh, wow.
So they are fired up about this. And I think it's nice to have the teacher do some puppet work, but I want to get them in charge. Let's make them drive. And so I just want to get enough puppets to reach a critical mass to where the thing starts to really roll.
Brian, how do you use the ones with no body? Do you use them
When you're
as a group or?
When you're performing with puppets
And-
that don't have legs, you need to have, it's the same stage unit, but you use the taller stanchions. So this stage is designed to be pretty versatile. These top little guys come off, and we just put it up to the next level. And I have this, whoa, I have another cross piece that isn't here right now. Actually, I'm not sure if I did. Anyway, there is enough. So now this is this one and the girl are perfectly comfortable here, and the kids are going to want to hide down like this, and that's fine as long as you have them do it. It's a very inexpensive video camera, just pointed at the stage, and so you can tell whether the puppet's eyes are doing what they're supposed to do. If the puppet isn't looking correctly, and the tendency for most of us who don't have a lot of experience, I've been chewed out for it over and over again, not having the eyes right when I was working in the Excalibur puppet show. So I know they're almost always lower than you want them, than you feel like they should be. Your gaze, especially from here, we're looking down into the audience's eyes. And the thing that makes it real, the thing that makes it magic, is if you connect with them on an eye contact basis, then it's going to work. And then you've got it. But if you forget and let go of that and think about dance, it's very easy with this much complicated stuff. Feet separate from hands, separate from eyes. It's easy to get distracted. So holding concentration through that, it's good 5th grade curriculum. I have some really bright 4th graders who can deal with it. But below that, we have to find simpler games to play. But this is the stage for the no-leg puppets. And
Just 2 people or just one?
it depends on the scene. Because one person can quite easily I can be Harry Belafonte, and I can just gesture with that. And it's not a problem at all.
Oh.
Right? So,
He's so smooth.
yes.
You
see?
practice.
See what works, right? No. When I'm building the puppets, the eyes are very close together because it's unnaturally close a little bit for focus, so you can look at me. I used to love the game that we would play, Excalibur Walk Around. I learned so much in 14 years working there. Have a puppet, and you walk along and you see a tough guy. My favorite gesture. It's a language. Right? So, a hand like this is one way. And I made these hands so that they can turn. And if you can't do that, then it's much more difficult. The folk menace puppets are really nice for children, the witch and the wizard, because their hands go in there.
Yeah.
But their power of gesture is not wonderful. It's okay. I'm not gonna say bad things about these puppets. The little ones, these squirrels that are so cute, they don't have an awful lot of expression. That's okay too. You see, some of my very favorite puppets, Telly Monster from Sesame Street. Love him. He does 2 things. He's okay, and he loses it. He totally freaks out. That's what he does. His eyebrows go up because that's he has the secondary animation part. I tried doing movable eyebrows in a puppet. I still gotta practice. Basically, if you cut a little more in here, then you can put a little trigger inside the head and move your middle finger, and the eyebrows will go up and down.
Yeah.
Which is nice if you want to get really mad at something. And I like to get that level of gesture if I can, right? If you don't have that huge level of gesture, and you have a puppet like the bee puppet, who's gonna get the children to go zzzz, and we'll do vocalizations that way. You can echo for a good long time with your average class, even 5th graders. And they'll go, they'll follow you right there. want to do it all day long. I have a bee that I want to convert to a fly, so I can do spider and the fly. I want to make the bee a Halloween costume, just a little black jacket for him or something. But the thing is, Spider and the Fly, love the poem, love the Tony DiTerlizzi book. You guys know about it?
Yeah.
It's awesome. But as a puppet show, I don't know. There's 5 stanzas worth of words. There's a bunch of words. And to get all of that to where you have something visual happening at each juncture, not necessarily the easiest thing. For puppets for children, we want to keep our scenes short. You guys who are up here with the witch and the wizard, you know how tired you were after a few minutes, right? And children, if they get tired, they get bored, and then they start to screw around. So we have to keep it short, keep it economical, and keep them on task, and make sure that they know who's the boss within the hierarchy of heads, arms, feet. If they take turns doing stuff, then they should be okay.
Do you actually sing with him from Untitled, the song? You sing the song when you?
I had kids do the vocalization for it. Now, if I were going to do a story, and I haven't done this yet, but I did it with professionals, we did a story, and it is a good idea to tape record the soundtrack. Tape record even the dialogue. If the kid's speaking the dialogue, the kid who's going to do the puppet says the dialogue into your microphone, we record all of that, and then when we perform the puppets, we go to the tape, the lip sync that they have made themselves. They'll be able to gesture with their own voice perfectly well, but it allows them to concentrate on what the arms are doing, the attitude of the head, looking where they're supposed to look, and these other things that are deceptively complicated.
I'd just like to say how much I appreciate the fact that you talk with your mouth and use the puppet. There's so many people, and my kids and other teachers that I've said use a puppet, and they say, well, but I'm not a ventriloquist. But you don't have to be, because people don't look at your mouth, they look at the puppet.
They never know you're there. after
They
see
don't
the face
care.
of the
They don't
puppet.
care.
They don't care that your mouth is moving. Edgar Bergen was not a good ventriloquist at all, but he was hilarious.
Yeah.
He didn't really care. He was just doing this. Avenue Q was one of the best shows I've ever seen. The singing was phenomenal, and the puppets were great. And the guys were just singing. They would hold their puppet.
It's hard to perform at elementary school though.
Actually, what we have to do is stop growing up and then think like the kids do, get back to that again, and then it expands.
Thank you so much for coming.